What's up, everyone? This is Jay Slayer, and this is your daily wrestling content. Now, this is my first video showing my face sitting behind the camera, so if I mess up a few times, please forgive me and give me a break. All right, now, I want to talk about Sasha Banks and the whole controversy surrounding her. You see, I've been a fan of Sasha Banks for so many years, and I think she's one of the best wrestlers on the planet. But this whole thing since Monday night with her and Naomi and the walkout, you know, a lot of people are, taking both sides. Some people are looking at it from WWE's perspective, but some people are also looking at it from Sasha Banks and Naomi's perspective. You see, I had to make sure I gather all the information because I didn't want to make assumptions. I didn't want to see like, oh, she walked out, so I'm just gonna assume that this happened, she's evil, this company's evil. No, 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 no. You see, I wanted to wait a couple days to make this video. And now that I gathered all this information, you see, I would have taken Sasha Banks aside because WWE creative is shit. And we all know WWE creative is terrible. Like, year after year, bad booking, all these releases, start and stop pushes happening all the time. See, but the thing with Sasha Banks is that her walking out is kind of illogical because the story was that her and Naomi were going to both challenge for the women's championships. The plan from the Wrestling Observer, the plan was to have Naomi challenge Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship, and Sasha Banks was going to challenge Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I'm assuming Hell in a Cell. And the plan for the six-pack challenge this past Monday on Raw was for Naomi to win that match, but they both walked out because they didn't agree. They didn't agree with the creative. And the thing is, they're the tag team champions, and I agree that champions should not be losing non-title matches. Champions should not be beaten in any type of match unless the championship is on the line. And yes, we all know the women's tag team titles is booked like shit. But this is the thing. It's still unprofessional for, professional wrestlers or anybody in general in the workplace to just walk out. Is WWE creative shit? Yes. But the thing is, Sasha has been there for a long time. Sasha is one of the biggest stars in WWE history. She's one of the biggest stars in the women's division. This is a woman that has won multiple championships, main evented multiple pay-per-views, had classic matches, always was always a super high merchandise seller. She's main evented WrestleMania. Last year's WrestleMania, in fact. She was in the main event. That's the type of woman that should not have much to complain about. Like right now, yeah, she's not in the main event scene, but still, she's up there. And the fact that she walked out over something petty like this, it's just mind-boggling. Like, I get it, they're the tag team champions, and the tag team champions are being used to elevate the current champions, Bianca Belair and Ronda Rousey. And maybe they shouldn't be put into that spot, but it doesn't warrant them to walk out. Like, it's not that serious. Like, Dolph Ziggler has more of a case to walk out than Sasha Banks and Naomi do. Dolph Ziggler has always been booked terribly in WWE. They give him a few mid-card titles every once in a while, but he is mostly a jobber. And Dolph Ziggler has never walked out in WWE. He's never blasted Vince McMahon or anything like that. Sasha Banks is one of the biggest success stories in WWE. She's part of the Four Horsewomen. And the fact that she walked out is ridiculous. And I know people are gonna probably come on here and say, "Oh no, I'm defending WWE. I'm on Bruce Pritchard's payroll." And no, that's not true. WWE is not perfect. They're not perfect. Like this, their creative sucks. Bruce Pritchard, his mindset sucks. I hate what they did with NXT 2.0, but that's another topic for another day. We're not talking about NXT 2.0 today. Sasha Banks, is like basically a female CM Punk. Like, that's another guy that I adore. When CM Punk walked out in 2014, I supported him. I was like, yeah, this company is shit, and they did this, they did that, and they screwed over CM Punk. But looking back at it, when I now that I'm older, now that I look at it, CM Punk, the guy's a crybaby. Like he just, you know, he walked out over petty reasons because he didn't main event of WrestleMania, while Sasha Banks just main evented WrestleMania last year, and now fast forward a year later, she's gone. Well, now she's not really gone. I mean, but she walked out, but they may or may not release her. I don't think they're gonna release her. They're probably just gonna freeze her contract because there's no way in hell she's gonna go to AEW. That forget about that. That shit ain't happening. So I don't know what's gonna happen from here. I mean, I personally think that Sasha Banks walking out is just ridiculous. And the fact that I'm reading all these reports about, the talent backstage, all the wrestlers backstage are calling her a mark and nobody is taking her side. There's no sympathy for Sasha Banks. So it just looks like she's completely in the wrong. But there's a lot of podcasters on here that are taking her side, and I mean, I guess they just want to be rebellious about it. Like I'm a fan of Sasha Banks. I love Sasha Banks, but she's in the wrong in the situation. I mean, she's not booked. She was never booked terribly in WWE. She's had multiple title reigns. She's always been on top. Yeah, she may not be number one. Maybe Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair are a little higher on the title pole, but come on. She's always been a star. So this comes across as somebody that's very spoiled and entitled. And that's what it comes across like. She has a big ego. She disagreed with one creative decision and she walked out just before the show aired. You understand? That's unprofessional. Like you could at least like wait until after the show's over and then try to talk to your bosses or something, but you can't just walk out, especially when you advertise for a match. CM Punk, as I recall, did that back in 2014. And it has been, it's just not right. You cannot just walk out on your job. Like I can't support a wrestler just walking out like that. Like I've seen wrestlers in worse creative, situations. And Sasha Banks, you know, like I'm pretty sure she's gonna look at this and she's gonna eventually regret it. Especially when she sees the amount of people that are against her. The amount of people that are like not supporting her because they look at it like this is ridiculous. Like you out of all reasons to walk out, you walked out over this. You were gonna challenge for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Sasha Banks, you were going to face Ronda Rousey. That is a big match. The fact that you're getting you're getting into a program around the Rousey is huge, but I get that you're one half of the tag team champions, and the tag team champions should be treated better on television, but they weren't booked that badly, honestly. They won the titles at WrestleMania. Sasha Banks got a WrestleMania moment. And now this little creative decision over what? Because the tag team champions were going to be used to put over the world champions. I mean, is this something I would do? No. But there's been worse booking scenarios. So this whole walkout was a little ridiculous. There are wrestlers on the roster. Even Ricochet has a better chance, or even Ricochet has a better case to walk out on WWE with his booking. He's the Intercontinental Champion. He never defends his title on pay. The Intercontinental Championship has not been defended in over a year. He doesn't defend his title at all. I mean, yeah, he defended on SmackDown a few times, but he's not treated as a priority. Sasha Banks is more of a priority than most people on the roster. And the fact that she walked out is childish. Like, it's just, insane. But yeah, I mean, honestly, when it comes to this whole Sasha Banks situation, there's nothing more for me to say. I'm a fan of Sasha Banks, and I hope this whole thing gets resolved. And normally I criticize WWE Creative, for some of the things that they do, but Sasha Banks is in the wrong here because that's just ridiculous. So I have no idea what's gonna happen. Naomi, I don't think she's gonna get let go because I mean she's married to one of the Usos. She's technically part of the bloodline, where they're not gonna get rid of her. And plus, they already claimed that she's being manipulated by Sasha Banks, which I kind of see. So maybe when Naomi gets back, I mean they may not punish her as much, but Sasha Banks, I don't know. I have no idea how this is gonna turn out, but hopefully things turn out well because All the Monday Night Raw reveals, where people didn't even talk about other matches and storylines taking place on Raw. All they did was talk about Sasha Banks. So, yeah. All right, you guys. That's it for now. I'll come back with more wrestling content, possibly tomorrow, if not, definitely Friday. So please subscribe to Jay Slayer, and I'll see you soon. Peace.